Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, I've already talked about these cards, but I know you always enjoy hearing Travis complain about a card and Bryn say, card looks cool, so that's what we're here to do. So we're going to discuss all the cards from the Feast of the Hemlock Vale spoiler article.
I don't complain about all of them.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, just like, you're batting like probably like 75.
Yeah. That's fair.
Well, let's see which ones you home run on today as we go into the first one. We're going to talk about Kate Winthrop, the scientist. So, her stat line is 2-4-2-4. You begin the game with the Flux Stabilizer in active side face up. The Flux Stabilizer is a permanent, and after a clue is placed on the Flux Stabilizer, search your bonded cards or discard pile for one copy of Etheric Current and shuffle it into your deck, then flip it to its other side, keeping all tokens and attachments. And the active side is, when you place a clue on an asset you control, get a +2 skill value for your next skill test this phase as a reaction. Going back up to Kate Winthrop, she is certainly not easy to explain. As a lightning bolt, move one clue from Kate Winthrop to a science or two asset you control with no clues on it. Enforce when an asset you control with on it leaves play, you place its clue on your location.
Well, you can't just grief your teammates by making the clue disappear with that on.
No, and also like the clues that on her stuff are clues she controls as well, so other people can still spend that.
No, they can't.
The Etheric Current, Yuggeth, it's basically they just allows you to fight or evade.
Are there only two?
There's only two, yeah. So you basically choose one of the two that you want to bring into play. So you either want to fight with your book or evade with your book. And you move all clues on assets you control, and you may use your book instead of fists. If you succeed and the attacked enemy is not elite, you may exhaust it and move to any location. Move it to any location. Draw a card, flip Flux Stabilizer. And then the evade one is book instead of foot. You may do it. If you succeed and the target is not elite, shuffle into the counter deck, draw a card, and flip the Flux Stabilizer. So you basically just get like a super thing out of your Flux Stabilizer. Yeah.
Those seem like kind of neat. Mostly I think that what they do is let you move the clues onto Kate instead of having them on your potentially discardable assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those are pretty powerful effects. Like shuffling them into the deck or like just send them to wherever is pretty good.
Yeah,
but you do have to like the foot one's a little bit weird for me because they gave her 4 foot.
But yeah, it's you may use book instead of foot. So like you can still.
Why is she a 4 foot investigator? Why wouldn't she be like a 4 brain? And then,
well, I have a theory. My theory is that she's the Seeker 05 Rogue 02. Yeah. Just because also like the cards that exist in there.
She's some sort of a rogue scientist.
Yeah. Tool assets. Yeah. Okay.
Dark science or whatever. And
I don't know much about her story, but that kind of doesn't really make sense to me.
I don't know. I just get all the vibes from it. Also, like her whole thing, like basically she turns clues into unexpected courages, right? And then she succeeds by X, and she's like, I'm happy.
It is probably what she is, but it doesn't really fit with her character, I don't think.
Her weakness is actually it's a test. The first ever signature with a test. It's Test Brain 3. It gets +1 difficulty for each asset control with a clue on it. For each point you fail by, you must either take a horror or place one of your clues on your location. So if it increases the difficulty by the clues you control, you can then place those clues you control on the location to make up for the increase. So it's a Rotting Remains, but also can suck your clues off as well.
Yeah. I mean, she seems neat. I'll probably play her.
Yeah, I mean, she is
play the Seekers.
That is how it goes. It's always hard to talk in depth about these until we know what they do, see the full
what
thing.
Other cards they print with them.
Yeah. So let's talk about the player cards, which are actually fun because we can actually hypothesize those with current investigators as well. So we got Chemistry Set. You too can be a scientist. 2 cost takes up the accessory slot. Item Tool Science is an action. Exhaust Chemistry Set. Investigate. If you fail by exactly 2, you discard Chemistry Set. If you succeed by exactly 0, gain 2 resources. If you succeed by exactly 2, draw a card. If you succeed by exactly 4, discover 1 additional clue at your location. So, you ready to do some math? Because it's time to do some math.
I'm not going to play this card.
I just want Justin to play this card with the stupid crystal pendulum for the that predict your number.
Yeah, just stack on stack of just like having to keep doing math between them. Yeah. What's the other one? There's the you can cheat chemistry with the recall the future or whatever it is, the one that allows you to name the token before you draw it. Just try to cheat it a little bit.
Yeah, this one's a little bit interesting. That lets you investigate. It's an accessory card. It's probably good. It doesn't give you plus book, but it is a little bit odd that they're playing it with Kate, who only has 4 base book, and it looks like her ally is not going to give her book boost either.
That's okay. Everyone's ally is Dr. Malone.
It is true. Yeah. No, this guy doesn't. He still doesn't beat Dr. Malone.
He knows his purpose. He's binder fire.
Yeah. That's him trying to cut. He's like, that's the thing that Dr. Milan was cutting up, and he was just doing it poorly for Dr. Milan to do it properly later.
Yeah. I just want to play this card with Rex, and then like repeatedly make like be the Green Goblin. Like I'm something of a scientist myself.
I mean, like in Rex, even if just like also turning your extra clue into also drawing a card. Like, you have no control over it when you do it. You kind of just, like, spin the wheel. You have
control. Just draw the right token.
That is true. Just draw the right token.
Don't draw a bad
one. You play analysis to just keep putting tokens down until you hit the one that you want.
play with Granny Orange, so then if you fail by exactly 2, you can be like, no, I failed by 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, this one might be neat with some of the red cards, like Butterfly Effect, or... Third time's the charm, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really see myself playing this too much. It might be neat as like a 1-of where you throw it in and you can investigate if you're not using the items for that and using your hand slots for something else and maybe get something else out of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, now you can investigate with your magnifying glasses that you're holding and just like have the 2 to draw a card potentially. Yeah. I mean, also like with Lab Coat as well. That's the one where if you fail by exactly 1, you succeed by 0 instead. So
I think this one's like, how many times do you need to proc one of its effects to make it good? Because 2 is, like, the break-even point. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be doing it 3 times in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only do it once a turn.
Yeah.
I'd argue that it's, like, worth it if you get the succeed by exactly 4.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the extra clue twice, then, like, yeah, whatever, you're golden. Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But that's probably not the one you're hitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it probably... Well, you just send your book high enough. Like, straight to the moon, so that way if you draw the -5, you succeed by exactly 4, and you're like, eat a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at Microscope, which is another item tool science. Takes up the hand slot. 2 cost. After reaction after enemy or location is successfully evaded or defeated, exhaust Microscope. Place 1 resource as evidence. Wow. We have Daryl Simmons is like, I'm using this to take my photos. Double action investigate. You get +1 book for this investigation for each evidence on Microscope to a max of +3. If you succeed, you may spend up to 2 evidence to discover that many additional clues at your location.
That's a bit of a tough one. Because, like, the double action is not great.
No, the double... No,
you...
level
0 card.
You never want to do that unless you are spending 2 evidence. Like, right? Like...
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So we have, like, this...
Or if you're playing, like, high difficulty and you want to condense your tests.
Yep, that's
because,
true.
Like, you can pass 1 test, but you probably can't do 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be our set where we get Seekers fight with Book?
No, this is our set where Seekers have foot, and like, Joe Diamond gets to attach this to his gun.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope.
Yeah. I don't know, this card seems like... I'll probably try it.
Yeah, no, I mean...
But, like, I'm not super optimistic about it. The double action thing really hurts.
Yeah. But like you said, it is level 0. If there's an upgraded version that, like, costs 1 action...
Yeah, the double action, you basically have to have 2 evidence on it to do it for it to be worth it.
One thing as well is that in the player cards, there's no new crazy mechanics. The only new mechanics that are coming back from this one are bonded and bless and curse tokens. Yeah, so there's no like customizable. Really nice. That's something that we were hoping for in this next one.
Big fan of that.
Yeah, so that's nice. But yeah, no, I agree. It is kind of neat, the idea of like a flex that leans more towards killing, and then you're like, okay, but now I'm going to grab just a bunch of clues because I have some downtime.
So like Michael Lee too, he also cares about evidence. Maybe we'll get more cards that care about that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we got Dr. Charles West III. This motherfucker knows his purpose. 3 costs, ally, soaks for 1 and 2. You have additional hand slot, which can only be used to hold a tool asset. And after you successfully investigate by exactly 1 or 3, exhaust Dr. Charles West to deal 1 damage to an enemy or location.
He's not a very good doctor.
No, he's not.
I'm not gonna... This one seems really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, this guy's purpose is, like, the extra tool slot, right?
Yes,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of what he does is just, like, some flavor text that doesn't even make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're right, it is. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay 3 of my ally slot for an extra tool slot. I want to play Dr. Milan.
Yeah.
But like, you could have an extra tool asset instead of playing like a hidden pocket or whatever. Because like you want to hold like legal tools, not.
So even if that's actually a great point, Brent. Even if I want to like, I mean, yeah, they do have to be legal tools, but I mean, if I'm playing green tools, I'd rather use the hidden pocket than him.
Yeah, but like, how many magnifying glasses can this guy hold? It's one.
Yeah.
He can hold one.
I mean, I like the.
And that makes him into a shitty Dr. Sharp.
You got your microscope, you look at it, you put magnifying glass front, he puts his magnifying glass in front of it.
And like we've
Everyone
done.
else is like, what
And
are
I
you
mean,
doing?
like, I like the bottom text. It like doesn't. Like, the flavor of it in my head is like, you succeed, he's like, let's go, and then he just stabs someone with a scalpel, because he's like, I'm so fucking stoked you did so well there. But, like, it doesn't make, like, I feel like it's a weird flexy thing.
That's a weird
even, like,
choice
weird.
to put
Yeah.
there, especially with the, like, we're going to definitely need some cards that enable manipulating how much you succeed in Veil by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing these cards and you're just rolling the dice, they're never going to do what you want.
Yeah,
when
but
you
like
want.
if you have chemistry set and this guy, if you
succeed,
at
you
all,
get something.
get something.
As long as there's an enemy or location, it's not engaged to you while you're investigating, so you don't just get bonked by it.
Anything can be your enemy.
Yeah, it's true.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't do damage to this guy. Just come out. And he dies.
Yeah.
Let go of my microscope.
So like, if you're playing,
Science.
yeah, I mean
ally.
Silas would work for this.
No, science. He's a science ally.
If he could play it, so like you versatile man,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you use him to hold half of your sledgehammer.
Okay.
He does hold half a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of neat.
Yeah.
No, I know you're looking for a payoff, but there isn't.
No, there is. He's holding half the sledgehammer.
What do you
He's swinging it
what do you
with
do with the extra hand slot? Nothing.
I don't care.
Nah, yeah, no, I love the art on him, though. He's a fucking maniac, and it's just, I don't know, doesn't...
It's neat.
I have to see what else there is,
Yeah.
see if maybe this guy pops a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a level 2 version of him that gives you 2 extra hand slots for tools,
Yeah.
and then he can hold your entire sledgehammer.
Yeah. And then you can hold a sledgehammer, you
Yeah,
can be
and then you-
sledgehammer
yeah,
buddies.
yeah.
Yeah! I'm down. To
Maybe.
see, like, that's a fun Bryn Madhouse deck, and then never do it myself.
And
Yeah.
never play with it because, like, man, this sucks.
Yeah. All right. We're going on to the next ones here. We got Ravenous Mikenid. This is the unidentified card here.
It's back.
2 cost, limit 1 per deck. As an
love
action,
these.
search your bonded cards for uncanny growth and add it to your hand. And then if Ravenous Mikenid has 3 or more growth on it, move each growth on it to your resource pool as resources. Record in your campaign log that you've classified a new species, and it is this scary monster, flora, science, creature, flower.
That's cool, but it doesn't really do anything without the upgrade ones, so.
The bottom one is Investigate. After this test resolved, place 1 resource on Ravenous Mikenid as a growth. For each point you succeed by, set it aside out of play. If you fail, return uncanny growth to your hand. Seems like very easy to identify. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, it is like, so it takes, it's actually kind of difficult. It takes an
yeah.
action to play and 2 resources, and then an action to get the uncanny growth, and then
That's fair,
you
yeah.
have to play the uncanny growth, which like is just an investigate, so whatever. But then you also have to spend another action to put it into your.
Yeah.
I guess like the third action is probably is
Oh, yeah, I guess
it's
it
not
is, yeah,
emergency cash or whatever, but
No, that is true, because I was looking at it like just like getting the growth on it, but it is action intensive. That is very true.
it's not quite as bad as it sounds though, because like yeah, playing it kind of sucks, and then searching your bond cards for it kind of sucks, but then playing the uncanny growth is you're just investigating, and then the other one you're just playing an emergency cash.
Yeah, and you're really like it'll suck if you don't. I mean, like you return it to your hand if you fail, but if you like succeed by 1 and you're like, oh, God, this damn flower is gonna make me do this again.
Yeah, it could be a couple of resources.
Yeah. It is nice though that like once you identify it, you can just have it kill the flower. Be like, kill the flower. I'm done with it right now. They'll be back in the future, but we need to see more.
Yeah,
We need to see
I'm
what
mostly
it
just
is.
hoping that we can build this guy into like a little puppet, and he'll be like, "I'll fight you."
Yeah, yeah. I hope
That
so
would be
too.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find with your secret fist.
Yeah.
And then we got.
But if you beat him, he'll go and find an ear or whatever.
What's that a reference to again? What is it?
The wooden puppet.
Okay.
From Albator, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, his it's
Yes, right,
reckoning
that's what
as
it
you
is,
flip
yeah,
it, and
yeah.
then you have to like wrestle the
How-
puppet for dominance, and if you beat it, he's like, "I found this guy's teeth."
We
And
gotta.
you're like,
You're right,
Why?
he was like, I'll go get someone else's teeth or ear or whatever and stay yours. And you're like, good.
Yeah. We got to see that on art one day, right? We'll definitely have to
One
see
day.
Wooden Puppet one day.
One day.
No, we don't.
All right.
We probably won't.
We got well funded. This is a fortune skill commits for a wild. While you control a science or tool asset, it gains a wild. While you control 3 or more wild science or tool assets, it gets double wild instead.
I just like well funded. Like we've got a fucking hammer.
And they're like, let's go. It's a skill that's kind of
To preach my role, I don't ever see myself playing this.
no.
It's like it's harder to trigger than Inquiring
Yeah.
Mind. It doesn't have a relevant keyword or a relevant subtype. You have to have 3 or more science or tool assets, so you
To
have
not
to, like,
even hit Promise of Power.
yeah
Yeah.
to hit Inquiring Mind. Like
Yeah, but you don't have to shuffle a token into the bag, and that's like such a huge cost.
if I was playing a deck, if I'm playing Kate Winthrop, I guess maybe I would play it over Unexpected Courage, but I'm probably not playing Unexpected Courage in her deck anyway.
Yeah, the only time I could see me playing, like choosing to play well funded, is when we do,
There's some
limited
kind
collection. And you're like, I'm building with this, or like a Joe Diamond, and you're like have like 8 tools that you want out at once.
Even then, I'm probably just gonna play
Yeah.
stupid other thing I said.
I think
Yeah.
to me this is like the biggest. Kate Winthrop might be green
Yeah.
because that's where like many of the tools are.
Yeah.
She's gonna have the same deck building as Kamani. Just tools.
Well, there's also Wilson Richards. So
Yeah.
Wilson Richards also gonna have tools.
Maybe.
So many tools.
Because I think that's like the headspace this wants to exist in is like a green deck that can play it.
Yeah.
Because you already want to have tools for things.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But
Yeah. Have you seen Hank Sampson, Bryn? Have you seen?
yeah, he just dies.
Okay, it's just this is. I love
I love
Parr.
his weaknesses. Where's paw?
Yeah. All right. So Hank Sampson, 3/1/5/3, but don't get too attached to it. He soaks for 5 and 5. You may be assigned damage and horror dealt to ally assets or other investigators your location. As a reaction, when you would be defeated by damage and horror, instead heal all your damage and horror and swap this card with its bonded resolute version, either side face up. So we have the assistant, which is 3/3/4/4. You cannot be healed. You may be assigned damage or horror dealt to ally assets or other investigator's location. When one or more horror is placed on you, draw a card. Other side effects to move a horror from Hank Sampson onto an asset you control. And the farmhand version, sorry, the Warden version, they're both farmhands. 4/1/6/3. You cannot be healed. You may be assigned damage and or horror dealt to ally assets or investigator's location. As a reaction, when one or more damage is placed on you, gain 2 resources. As other side effect, move 1 damage from Hank Sampson to an asset you control. His signature is Stout-Hearted. Fast, 2 costs. Play when when you engage a non-elite enemy. Move up to 2 damage and or horror from Hank Sampson to that enemy as damage, which seems pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And then where's Parr? Well, looks like Parr's fucking dead. Revelation.
Probably.
Discard cards at the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Attach Where's Paw to that enemy and spawn it in the connecting location if able. Attach enemy gains Elusive. And force at the end of the round, Hank Sampson takes 1 direct horror.
So you're telling me that we just want to play this guy with like Mark Harrigan and have Mark Harrigan carrying around the Springfield rifle, and then you spawn your enemy at a connecting location. He's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime
If that
Mark
wasn't
Hagan
your
takes too
paw,
much
he's
hard
dead,
damage, you
so-
just take it. It's
Yeah.
good. Sophie's always happy. Everything's good.
Sophie's always happy because you're dumping all your problems on this poor young man.
I suppose that's where where you would play the other version is if you were just like the support tank and you were literally just like taking damage.
Why
for
wouldn't I
everybody.
play the other one and like do that and also?
Because you can also then do book stuff as well, right?
Well, it comes back to the art. So Justin and I talked about this beforehand, before you were here too, Bryn. So didn't really see a reason why you would ever pick the assistant because if you're building towards a stat line, you have 5 fists. You're gonna play cards that make you good, that want to make use of that high fist, which like you want more of it, so you'd pick the 6, right? And on the other side, you have the 3 book, and either you can play cards, if you want to play cards that try to take advantage of having a book stat, you don't get to do that at the start of the game because you have 1. So you either like have to turbo through your first phase, like waste a third to half the game with like your book cards being dead. Or if you do want to get clues, you just play the red cards that don't care about your book score, like the succeed by 0 stuff, in which case playing the 3 book side is pointless. Mm-hmm. Like you do get the assistant side, the assistant side does get you more sanity, which is like honestly probably doesn't matter because you're playing Survivor.
Yeah.
Unless he's got real weird deck building.
Yes,
and
I
then
hope he does. I hope he's no allies.
yeah, you get to draw a card when you when horror is put on you, whereas the other one is you get resources when you put damage on you. Like honestly, you're probably playing him as a goon, which means you probably have a seeker or something else, or like a mystic who typically have lower heart values, higher brain values, so they're gonna be more conscious about the heart damage, which is what you're gonna want to be putting on you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do also hope you can't play allies. That would be Like, if you can play Pete and Jessica, what's the point?
Yeah, if you can play Pete and Jessica, like...
What's the point?
I mean, give us, like, an on-your-own, like, actual, like, investigator who, like, was like, hey, this is what I want to be doing. And I think it would do a good job of just, like, making that 4 horror actually matter if you can't play Pete Sylvester, right? Because if you can't play Pete Sylvester, that 4 horror actually, like...
Even then, like, it's not 4 horror, it's, like, 9.
It's not 9 because you don't want to be playing that guy.
Well,
Yeah.
it's...
You want to be playing other guy.
You do want to be playing Warden and not, like, the initial one.
No, I mean, like, you don't want to be playing first guy, so you're just going to get him killed.
Well, but you can just
It's
play...
like when I play Lazarus, I try to die on the second... As soon as I find a health upgrade, I'm trying to die.
Right? You're like,
you do want to be the second one, but you don't have to
spikes.
rush through it because your stat line is basically the same. It is slightly better on the other side, but
No,
like
it's not basically
it's
the
not
same.
worth turboing through 5 hearts and 5 through like some combination of 10 damage or 9 damage at best to get +1 brain and +1.
I don't think you
Fist.
understand how strong Six Fist is. That's like as strong as the Hulk.
It is very strong, but like it's not worth like just throwing away that health and sanity for nothing.
Yeah, it is.
Unless there's some other benefit to it.
No, the benefit is that you're playing with somebody playing blue, and they've got like Field Agent and B Cop, and they're just like every time I can, I'm doing this, and you're taking the damage.
I mean, it's fine. Like assuming he has like a normal Survivor 0 to 5 card pool, like having that missing the brain doesn't matter. You can play Precious, you can play Cherish Keepsake, you can play Perseverance, you can play Devil's Luck. There's so many ways to not care about your sanity.
Red characters are so fragile.
Survivor, like it just doesn't matter.
I mean, I could also just see, like, you don't try to die, right? You're just playing, like, you do, like, this idea where, like, if you're soaking for, like, B-Cops, Field Agents, and you're just, like, healing yourself in this first phase, and if you do die, you just choose whichever one is better for you at the moment, too, could be a way to take them, too.
Yeah, this is my point. I don't really ever see this one being better in most cases. If anything, you're probably going to be gimping your ability to fight.
Yeah, but
it's like going from 5 fist down to
cards.
4 fist is much worse than going from 5 to 6 is good.
Yeah, but I mean, like, like, you could build a Survivor deck that, like, you know, uses tools, right? Like, uses, like, you know, like, your resourcefuls are now active. You could grab things that are, like, you know, just, like, traditional Survivor scrappiness, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that I think I agree with you. I think the Warden version is, like, the obvious choice given, like, what we see on this stat line and, like, without knowing his deck building. But, I mean, I think, like, the Survivor class could lend into a flexible that you don't... I think this is also with the idea that you don't, like, rush to die, right? Because the Survivors can still grab clues of 1 book. That's what Survivors can do, right?
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the point I'm making, though. It's like, if you can get them in 1 book, why have...
Because, like, you want to draw more cards, maybe, right? Like, I think, like, the idea is that you, like... If you don't, like, go for one, you choose whichever one is more opportune, given the game state and, like, when you die and what you need, right? Potentially, right? Going on with what I see here. But I do agree that, like, Six Fist is hard to say no
like,
to.
the Warden one just seems much better than that.
Like, if it had, like, if his brain went down to 2, right? Like, he just turned into, like...
Oh, if it was, like, heavily sloped one way or the other or something like that?
Yeah. But, like, the brain just got better. The fist got better. The foot stayed the same. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I think, like, I'm hoping to see maybe we see something with his deck building that provides a bit more choice. Because otherwise, I do agree, you're ultimately going to just play, like, a Hank Sampson's that's worse. Unless your plan is to not die and then just choose the best one in the moment, depending on what you need more of. Either more horror or, you know, drawing cards, or you just want to kill things, right?
Well, I mean, like, but you have to heal all of it. It's not like you're going to flip to it and you're like, oh, I start with 5 horror or whatever. It's not like you keep the damage. That'd be more interactive. That'd be more interesting, actually, if, like, he had normal values. Mm-hmm. If he had, like, 9 and 11 on the assistant side for health and sanity, and then 11 and 9 on the other side, and you just, like, transferred the horror and damage over. Mm-hmm. That would be more interesting. Because then, like, yeah, you might actually switch to the horror one, because if you have 5 horror and you need to switch over and you have 4 horror now, as opposed to just, like, starting fresh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that means you're playing a scenario where, like, you're taking more horror.
Yeah, but I mean, like, also, like, you even said, like, the card draw is the thing. Like, I'm not saying that, like, I'm going to go here, like, 50-50. It's like
If they force you, that would be sick. If you die to horror, you have to be the assistant one. If you die to damage,
that'd be cool.
The warden.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
And I mean, like I also said it'd be cool if his deck building also was like you don't get to use traditional weapons. You can only use like tools, like to fight with.
Yeah, they can't play
like,
non-weapon tools.
Yeah.
Or non-tool weapons.
Yeah. Even because like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But there is some survivor cards that we can talk about here. We got Pitchfork, 3 cost, takes up both hand slots. Fight. You get +1 fist and deal +2 damage with this attack. If this attack is successful, lose control of Pitchfork and attach your location. Your location gains action. Take control of Pitchfork. Any investigator at Pitchfork's location may trigger this ability.
That's cool.
It's cool. Flavorful, fun. Kind of like works like Sledgehammer 0, right? Double action to get 3 damage.
Well, we're going to play
or
this all Survivor. We all run 2 Pitchforks.
Yes,
right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool card. I think it's fun. Mm-hmm. And this would be like if we see this kind of like item, like, tool weapon, if that's what Hank has to do, please. We'll see.
I mean, like, if they're like this, though, it makes the Warden one even more necessary to use them, right? Because if you flip to the assistant side, you're fighting with 5, whereas they just get to fight 7.
I mean, 5 is still good. If you're
like,
flexing, if you're flexing Survivor, right? 5 is still probably manageable, right? Long shot, which is like great art.
Yes.
Practiced, you may commit long shot to a fight or evasion test against an enemy at your location or connecting location. If this test is successful, deal 1 damage to that enemy.
That's cool. It's like it's a vicious blow that you can. Oh, it's practiced.
Yeah, it's a survivor vicious blow, and to the versatility, it loses the pip that gives you the extra 1.
Practice makes sense. It's just on the farm throwing bricks at cows or whatever in his spare time.
Yeah.
And then, like some weird creature comes out. It's like you look at the bricks, like it's my time. Yeah. The cows are like,
it kills the creature, and the next like, let's go.
The cows have to die for that.
Yeah.
However, I mean, like that's somebody's got to kill him at some point.
Yeah.
He's standing there throwing bricks at him from like 30 feet away. Like the boss is like, why don't you just hit it with a hammer like everyone else? And he's like, no, like this is gonna be sick. I'm gonna hit it, and it's gonna die.
Yeah.
Mom and Pa have like guests over, and they're just like sitting there talking and having dinner from the yard. What's that? Oh, there's just Hank throwing bricks at the cows again. Yeah. From the roof.
But don't worry, one day, Hank.
It'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it. Yeah, it's a cool card. It'll be fun, and I think it'll be fun to make jokes about too, which I always love. Yeah, it is good. Yeah, it doesn't let you. I saw some people talking about this as well. I think it was in not our Discord, but somewhere online. It doesn't let you attack enemies at other locations. If someone is attacking an enemy at a connecting location, or you have the ability to attack an enemy at a connecting location, you get to throw a brick at them.
But you can't do it. It doesn't let you do it yourself.
Yes, yeah. All right, push to the limit. Is this knowledge is power? Well, we're going to find out. 2 cost. Tactic, improvise, choose a weapon or tool asset in your discard pile, resolve an action ability on that asset, ignoring all costs, including its action cost. At this effect resolve, shuffle the chosen asset into your deck, and playing this card does not provoke attacks of opportunity.
This is not knowledge's power.
Yeah.
Not even close.
No,
it's good.
It's good.
Like it.
But it's like a fair knowledge's power effect.
This might be the piece that Shotgun Mark is missing. Get an extra bullet out of your shotgun and you shuffle it back into your deck. Let's go.
I do also like it on Sledgehammer because you can do the bottom action.
The big crunch?
Yeah, the big crunch
with it. You just have
it.
to find a way to get into your discard pile.
Yeah, he discards for 3 punch. No problem.
Well, you get your second one, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I think the card's cool and fun, and we'll see what happens with it. I mean, even just like but it's also kind of scary. Actually, it's not that scary because I actually think taking it out of your discard pile is probably the best thing it could do to kind of like beat scavenging recursion, because you can also do like old keyring stuff with this too.
What is Wilson Richards?
His ability is it was kind of covered, but I'm pretty sure it's you may play a tool at -1 cost from your hand.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get to play tools. Maybe he'll get to play improvised cards.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
It's like a tool, and then like all those are red anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be really cool with like the shovel and the lantern.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. There's the shovel in the art.
Yeah, where you can just like
discard it.
Yeah.
Put it back into your deck. Do the ability. That's actually that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Clear the shovel and it breaks your push limit. You grab the shovel head. Just
also actually fun with baseball bat too. Your baseball bat breaks and you're like, I ain't done with this.
Yeah, no, this card's good.
Cool card. Cool card.
Little bit of insurance on some of that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Good card.
I like all 3 of these cards. They're all fun.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Good job.
All right, Sparrow Mask. I think this card's also pretty sick.
I think this card's insane.
Yeah, 1 cost, item, charm, mask. Limit 1 mask per investigator. It's back. And there's also popcorn in the background. Let's go. All right, using 2 offerings, replenish one of these offerings after you take 1 or more damage or horror. Spend an offering, lightning bolt, you get +1 brain, +1 foot for the skill test.
It's so good.
It's like it's like
How many unexpected courages?
it's also like we have a dig deep at like, hey, we have Sparrow Mask. No, we have Sparrow Mask at home, and Sparrow Mask at home is dig deep. It's a good card. Yeah, it's
this
very
is
good.
actually like comparable to level 4 dig deep.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. It only costs 1. It's slotless. I know it's like it's a mask, but it's effectively slotless.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it commits for when you draw the other one. It you get +3 instead of +2.
You only get offerings back if you take damage or horror, Justin. How likely is that to happen?
Not likely at all.
Not likely to get +2 and +2 burn, +2 foot to all your tests.
And it doesn't even specify like where the damage or horror is coming from.
Yeah.
All right, like it's just like, for example, Hank Sampson taking a bullet for a beat cop.
Yes, I'm saying you just
Right.
roll around. This warden hangs out with 6 brain.
Yeah, cool card. There was a German article. I haven't looked at the cards because I don't care enough. I only want the official stuff that comes. But there's going to be a mask for each class.
Okay.
There's a Guardian one that I think does the same thing as the shitty asset does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're all just like the shitty acid, probably.
Yeah. But
yeah,
like, yeah.
whatever.
All right. Wrong place, right time. This is a 0 cost that commits for a guts or a manual dex. It's a spirit and a double. Oh, yeah, okay, right. As this cost to play, wrong place, right time, spend an action. So move up to 5 damage or horror from your investigators to assets controlled by investigators your location. For each asset defeated by this effect, draw 1 card. Remove wrong place, right time from the game.
See, this makes me feel like Hank's probably going to get to play allies. Because how many assets are there that can like have damage and horror on them? And mostly it's like Leathercoat and Cherished Keepsake and Precious Memento. Like they do exist,
But they're fewer. So unless we get more of them in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is also much more like other people might ever want to play this. Because like if it's just Hank Sampson, then like whatever. Why isn't this his signature?
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, like I like the idea of like even just in like as a one of in York when you're like, okay, I want to draw a bunch of cards, I can just like put some of my shit in the discard pile and then just play it back. Like especially like your Cherished Keepsake and your coats.
Wait,
Play it in Tommy Muldoon to like shuffle.
Yes,
your stuff
Tommy
to, like,
Muldoon seems
exactly
really
kill your
good.
guys.
Yeah.
No, that would be very good.
It seems strong.
Yeah.
For like Hank though, like they're if this is going to be playable on him, they're going to need to print some cards that can soak damage and horror. Or he's going to need to have access to like blue for True Grit and
Yeah, he's probably blue. He's probably just like has some access to like assets with health or sanity that aren't allies. That'd be so complicated, but I mean, I do hope that they also just like repeat some deck building stuff.
Yeah,
because I do think that like Hank and Yorick with the exact same deck building would play very differently, right? Because Yorick just recurs things and Hank just would soak things.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like recurring things, only worse.
Yeah, exactly. So just be a worse Will Yorick. But like, I mean, the card does seem sick. In Tommy, it seems really nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. All right, then we got Stall for Time. This is a 1-cost event. It's a tactic trick parlay. Choose an enemy location, test bring X, where X is the chosen enemy's fight or evade value, whichever is lower. If you succeed, exhaust the chosen enemy, but do not disengage from it. If it is non-elite, it does not ready during the next upkeep phase. If you fail, return Stall for Time to your hand.
This is just for that stupid parlay investigator, so no reason exists.
No, this is to make your choice of putting fine clothes in your starting deck better.
Yeah, definitely.
The art for this is so silly.
It's great. I love it.
He's like less than 4 inches. Like, I'm play my violin for you. And she is like, she 100% believes it's gonna work.
Yeah.
And this D point's not just gonna like, just gut her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's because she has to finish practicing this aria or whatever.
Yeah.
it also definitely looks like they had art of Patrice and they like photoshopped the D point on top of it.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of fair. This doesn't entirely look better than Shirtless Silas.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's two things that I love
terrible.
about this card. One is that it has the freeze effect on evade, which I think should have been evade from, like, it should have been the evade's extra damage. And two, it has a reminder text to remind you that you do not disengage from an enemy if you just exhaust it. because it's not evading the enemy.
Yeah.
Those are two nice things that I'm very happy to see on this card, just from like a kind of like a design and like just like rules text that should have been here from day one.
And play this in your improvised trap deck. Like, no, okay, can you like stand a little to the left, like a little more?
Yeah. Now, yeah.
It's like fine.
I mean, like if you have high brain too, and like, I mean, but once again, it's evading, which is just kicking the can down the road. So that's the thing about it. But I mean, like the freeze does make it more appealing if you're playing fine clothes as well, like being able to just evade or like parlay at 0. But you're right. Also, the parlay investigator is going to like this card as well.
That's probably why it's here.
Yeah.
Like, no, there's parlay cards in other colors. See? We print some right now.
I mean, the best time to print parlay cards is when there's
something that cares about it.
Yeah. Sweet. Those are the cards. I know there was more. There's like all like there's we could zoom in and see the information on the picture of all the investigators, but
those are future videos.
Yeah, those are and the actual cards will come, and even like I'm sure we'll touch on more on once we see the back sides of these investigators as well, because that's where like the investigator kind of is. But thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, and as always, GG's.